Access granted.
Viewer discretion is advised. Go where no man has gone before. It'll make your head spin. Real bad.
Broadcasting live from 42-degree downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And as we all know, the flashing G stands for your host, me, Grumpy, and we're brought to you by Grumpy Vulture Productions. And a happy Easter! And we have Easter Eaglets. Unbelievable Easter Eaglets. Man, you talk about hatching in rapid succession. Now, she was feeding the one, and I figure by tomorrow, the other one will be hungry, so they should grow at the same rate. Man, that's unbelievable. I was kind of worried because they kept saying the one egg was cracked. I don't know who had said that, but for the longest time they said one of the eggs had been damaged. Well, it's obvious. No damaged egg. It's amazing, you know, how helpless them suckers are to what they grow into. Now, we just got to keep our fingers crossed. Not like last year. They had that flash snowstorm. But, oh, them little eaglets are adorable. I can't believe how fast they... That one is what, a day old? Maybe 2 days? Or a day old? I read something where they said today was the first feeding for the first one. And you could tell how freshly hatched the second one was. Absolutely amazing, especially with the tragedy that happened with the first clutch of eggs. Because a lot of people were forecasting that the eggs might not be viable. Guess them 2 little eaglets proved them wrong. Plus, I was reading an interesting article where shortly before the eaglet will start to peck a hole in the egg, they say it emits high-pitched sounds that both Jackie and Shadow can hear. And that's how they know they're ready for a hatching. The little eaglet like signals I'm getting ready. Yeah, they said the sound that comes from the egg can't even be picked up with the microphones that are around the nest. Only they can hear it. Yeah, they said like 6 hours or 8 hours before the chick will start to peck a hole, it like talks to the parents and saying, I'm in here, I'm getting ready to come out. Because if you noticed, there's a lot of times that like Jackie will crank her head, and that's what she's hearing, that chick making noises. Absolutely amazing. I'd like to know how they figured that out. Although I'm sure that, when they hatch them in an incubator, I'm sure that somewhere along the line somebody went, let's put a microphone in here. But yeah, that first of all, that's how they know the egg is viable, because it doesn't start making noises until it's ready to start pecking its way out. And me, I haven't been bird watching. So I flipped on the old computer today when I got the warning that we have eaglets. And I was watching Mommy feed the first one. It's amazing how delicate, she is. Watching her feed. Didn't I like this? Yeah, I was watching her, and you can see her tongue working, bringing down the shredded meat, and then she gets it on the end of her tongue and she drops it in the eaglet's mouth. It is so cool to watch. The old computer will be on every day now. I'll be watching Eagletville. So everybody's through with their Easter dinner. I didn't make anything. My sister called me this morning and she says, I'm going to bring you leftovers. So she'll be here somewhere like around 8 o'clock with my leftovers. Ham, kibasi, a shitload of deviled eggs, oh boy, green bean casserole, and smashed potatoes. My sister's not big on leftovers. So after everybody got done eating, she made a big, huge container for me. and she was going to bring it tomorrow. And she said, if it gets left in the fridge, somebody will be picking through my leftovers. So she put the container in and said, hands off. Yeah, ham, kielbasa, green bean casserole, smashed taters. And she said a shitload of deviled eggs. Because she made a shitload of deviled eggs. She made 4 goddamn dozen. And then it was funny, Kathy, you'd love it. She called me when she started to peel the eggs. And she was counting them. 1, perfect. 2, perfect. Because she did them the way I told her to do them. Because she starts them in cold water. I said, no. I said, room temperature, boiling water, white vinegar in the water, and slowly put them in 47 out of 48. Only one gave her some fits. I said, well, how dare you doubt your older brother when he tells you how to cook? Yeah, only one. Because she was counting them. And the more she peeled eggs, the more she was laughing, going, I've never had eggs peel like this before. Because I told her, roll them, and then they'll peel right apart. Because when I told her boiling water, she was like, oh, they're going to be all screwed up. I said, trust me. It'll work perfect. I think she said there's either 10 or 12. I can't remember if she said 10 eggs or 12 eggs. I'll eat them all, believe me. Yeah, she was shocked to get 47 eggs to peel perfect. And the last one gave her fits. Matter of fact, she told me, she goes, I'm going to tell the women at work. Oh, did she argue with me when I told her, room temperature the eggs. I take them out of the refrigerator a couple hours before you get ready. Bring the water to a rolling boil and slowly drop them in. Oh, they're going to be all screwed up. Nope. And I also gave her my pickled egg recipe because she loves pickled eggs. So I told her, I says, do them the way I tell you and they'll turn out perfect. And I said, if you like them a little on the more sour side, less sugar, more cider vinegar. So she will doubt me no longer. Oh, we got into an argument. I never heard of putting them in boiling water. Just do it. That's what I said. Just do it. Do it exactly the way I tell you. Do it. And it worked. Matter of fact, her neighbor happened to be there when she was peeling the eggs. And even her neighbor said, I have never had hard-boiled eggs peel like that before. I said, I told you. I told you. Because I asked her, I said, did you use dry mustard or prepared? She said, I made 2 batches. I took half and used prepared mustard and half using your dry mustard. I said, which ones am I getting? She said, half and half. You really can't tell too much. The dry mustard does give it a little bit of a bite, along with, the hot sauce, because we like ours a little on the spicier side. Except she don't like Cholula hot sauce. She likes red hot. I said, have you tried Cholula? No. I said, how do you know you don't like it? Because I've been using red hot for years. That's the only thing we couldn't agree on the eggs was the hot sauce. But she told me, I asked her, I said, along with the ham, are you bringing me the ham bone? She said, no, I'm going to make soup. I knew I shouldn't have given her that recipe. Yeah, she's going to make split pea with ham soup. I should have kept that recipe to myself. Man, I went up to Dollar Tree. Holy shit, is it cold out. I hate when it's damp cold. And it just goes right through me. I had to turn the heater on in the car. God, you would think that they were giving shit away for free at Dollar Tree. Jesus Christ, was that place crowded today. I went to pull in the parking lot, and I'm like, where the hell? There ain't no parking spaces. Then luckily, just as I entered the lot, someone pulled out of the handicap spot. And then one cashier. The line was like halfway down the aisle. And the assistant manager was stalking, I says, can you come up and open a register up? I said, she's got a line like almost to the back of the store. Shit, I just remembered I forgot something. Damn it. I just remembered I forgot to get laundry Senties. I'm out of... And I'm not buying laundry Senties at any of the local stores. Price, they're so goddamn expensive. And I was standing right there because I had to get bleach, and they were right in front of me, and I didn't even think of getting them. It's because I didn't write them on the list. Everything is lavender. I got the lavender laundry detergent, the lavender scented bleach, the lavender softener, and I forgot the Senties. That's all right. I'll go up and get them tomorrow. I have to go out tomorrow again anyway. Because Mark's was closed today, and I have to get delectables. I only have one package left for tonight. For his royal fatness. And I still have no idea where my kid is. He vanished off the face of the earth somewhere. That's all right. It's been nice and quiet. No rap music. It's amazing how quiet it's been. I was like, wow. Am I in the right house? Yeah, I thought for sure Mark's... Well, I knew Mark's was going to be closed. I thought for sure like Dollar Tree, Dollar General. Nope, they were open. And then I saw an interesting article this morning. I did not know that Kohl's started out as a grocery store. Kohl's did not sell clothing. They started out as a grocery store back in 1927. Because there was a list of grocery stores that have closed over the years, like A&P, and there were a lot of them down south that I didn't recognize the names. And then it said Kohl's. Man, it was Kohl's. Kohl's is a clothing store. Nope, in 1927, Kohl's started out selling groceries. And when the competition started to get pretty tight, they converted over to clothing. But in 1927, they opened as a grocery store. Matter of fact, they're the only one that basically, well, the name only survived. Because A&P, they vanished. They were one of the biggest in America at one time. But they said the last CEO kind of had a misguided approach to running grocery stores, and they filed for bankruptcy twice. But it surprised me with Kohl's. Because when A&P finally went under, it got split up. Certain parts got bought by northern stores, certain parts got bought by southern stores. But the article said that at one time, A&P was the largest grocer in America. And for them to bite the bullet was shocking. But like they said, the last CEO kind of misdirected, like, their mission statement, let's try this, and it didn't work, God, I wish I could remember some of the grocery stores. There was one like Value Center. Oh God, I should have wrote them down. Because a lot of the smaller ones down south got absorbed by either like Winn-Dixie or Piggly Wiggly. There was hard to believe there was more competition down south than there was up north. I'll have to see if I can find that article again. Because there was one up on the East Coast, New York, New Hampshire, Value Mart. Great Value, something like that. There was one down south called Giants. And I thought maybe that was kind of the parent corporation for Giant Eagle, but no, it was just called Giant Grocery. But it was interesting the number of grocery stores that were fairly large. But the guys that started Kohl's, when the grocery and I'll tell you, they did it right. They got out of the grocery business at the right time. Because they didn't lose any money. They did, it was almost like an overnight conversion. Groceries out, clothing in. And look at Kohl's today. Jesus. Look at the prices of Kohl's. And believe it or not, I have never been in a Kohl's. Never. Because I'm cheap. Why should I go to Kohl's when I can go to Work Smart Uniform Store and get 2 pair of jeans for the price of 1? Actually, 3 pair. 3 pair for the price of 1. Because the one day I went in the Bullseye store and I was looking at jeans. And it was like $68 for freaking jeans. Wranglers. I went to Work Smart Uniform Store and got 3 pair of Wrangler jeans for $68. I don't care that the stitching's a little crooked on one of the legs. Yeah, they have all the top name jeans, and you can get them for $12.95 a pair, $16.95 a pair, and they're basically factory rejects. Like the pair I'm wearing right now. The stitching on the front of the zipper flap has a little divot. It don't go in a straight line. It's like, I don't care. And that's what they got rejected for. That one little 1 inch mistake. Because I've looked down every other stitch on these blue jeans, and the only boo-boo is that 1 inch where evidently the girl wasn't paying attention or sneezed, you know. Oof, oh shit. They get thrown, reject. And you can guarantee if I'm paying $16.95, he's probably going to the factory and buying them jeans for maybe $5-6 a pair. Because, you know, he's got to make money. Hey, TV! Where you been, buddy? I was telling everybody that I read an interesting article where Kohl's originally was a grocery store back in 1927. Opened as a grocery store. And I can't remember what year they made the change from groceries to clothing, but they were originally a grocer. Some worthless trivia. Oh, wow. Pardon me. Although with the price of clothing in Kohl's, maybe he should go back to groceries. I don't, you know, I got a friend that shops there. She doesn't buy a lot there. And, you know, she tells me about the prices. I just can't believe the prices people pay for clothing. Although I'm retired, I don't need dress clothing, you know. But to go to my little clothing shop there and get, you know, a pair of jeans for $16, $17, get short sleeve shirts for $8, long sleeve 10. I don't need nothing fancy. I have one pair of dress slacks. I have two really nice dress shirts, and I have two sport coats, just in case. I haven't worn any of them in years. I get up in the morning, I put on my work shirt, put on my blue jeans, I'm good to go. I'm not running no fashion show here. Although I'll tell you, Kathy, I remember back in high school, all the girls made their own dresses, skirts, blouses. because basically it was part of your grade. Nowadays, you can't even find a sewing machine for sale. God, I remember back in the day we had Joann Fabrics. Miles and miles and miles of cloth. And they did away with, sewing class in high school. And that literally put the fabric stores out of business. Because every single high school, the curriculum was girls had sewing. And in order to get your grades, every girl would make a blouse, and then you'd get graded on it. And then the next project was a skirt. And then maybe the next project was a dress. And God, all the girls I knew, they'd buy a shitload of dress patterns, and they would all get together like on a Friday night and have a sewing bee sleepover. And then, they did away with all that shit. Home ec. No, no wonder this generation can't cook. They can't do shit. They don't teach it in school. And it's not like back in our day, moms taught their daughters how to cook. Nowadays, moms teach their daughters how to microwave. But as soon as the curriculum for dressmaking ended in high school, you slowly saw the fabric shops disappear. Although I am told Michaels does carry some fabric. I have yet to go into a Michaels. Because I saw the sale ad. I get the email once a month. And now they're carrying a shitload of yarn and knitting and crocheting, and they're having classes. Like every Wednesday from 7 to 9, they have knitting and crochet classes at Michaels. So it looks like knitting and crocheting are making a comeback. You would think at the price of clothing, sewing would make a comeback. Because I remember, I'll tell you what, I don't think Joann Fabric lasted 2 years after they did away with the dressmaking in high school. I think maybe 2.5 at the most. Because it shocked the hell out of me, because I wanted to I had a really nice hassock, and I wanted to recover it. Because when I was in wood shop, they also taught upholstery. So I go up to the shopping plaza in Lakewood, and I pull in, and I was like, where's Joanne Fabric? They're not here anymore. Damn it. I never did recover that hassock. I think I ended up throwing it out. Yeah, I pulled in, and I'm trying to think what a pet shop. Pet Supplies Plus. That was in the building. I'm looking at pet store. This used to be a fabric shop. Gone. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see the Michaels ad with the knitting and crocheting classes. I can't remember if it's every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, 7 to 9, because it said huge shipment of every make, model, and style and color of yarn. You know, I keep saying I'm going to unbox that Afghan that my cousin made. She made me a really nice Afghan for my bed in like 2 weeks. A twin bed Afghan, 2 weeks. After dinner, and she two-toned it, or did she three-tone it? Now I'm going to have to dig it out. It's in the box, put away for the, well, it was put away for summer. I didn't even drag it out this year because I don't want boots to screw it up. Because she was talking about how much she loved to crochet, and I made the joke. I said, well, gee, you could crochet me an Afghan. And then 2 weeks later, she said, the Afghan's coming to you, UPS. I was like, what? And it's gorgeous. Like I say, the reason I don't have it on the bed is because I don't want Boots to get his nails in it and snag it and screw it up. She must be like a machine. Yeah, she told me after dinner she'd sit down to watch TV, grab the old yarn, and it heavy, but it's a work of art. I used the winter she sent it to me, and Boots snagged one little spot, and luckily it was like in a corner. Because sometimes you end up with 47 feet of yarn. But I can't remember if it's two-tone or three-tone. It's gray and maroon, and I can't remember if there's a third color on it. As a matter of fact, it was hilarious. She crocheted 3 other about 24 by 30 blankets for boots. She sent me 3 blankets for boots because she had a bunch of extra yarn. And like she said, it wasn't enough to really make anything because they were like 4 or 5 different colors. Couple of rows of green and then 10 rows of blue. She just took all her scrap yarn and made him 3 blankets. And you think he'll sleep on them? No. He has to sleep in bed with his head on my pillow. I said, hey, look, kitty blankets. He looked at him like, what? Yeah, I got a good laugh when she goes, I had a bunch of yarn left over. She said, I made Boots 3 kitty blankets. But she likes, she said that's the way she relaxes. She'll sit down with her crochet needles and her yarn, and after dinner, because at her church, she basically advertises, and this is how much she loves to crochet. If people want Afghans made or pot holders or what, she'll tell them how much yarn to buy, and she makes it, and she don't charge a dime for her labor. She tells people just, all right, for this, I need 10 balls of yarn, whatever, however you buy yarn. And then they show up, and she, all right, I'll call you when your Afghan's done, or your pot holders, or whatever. Now, here's something interesting, Kathy, and I don't, being a crocheter, my buddy's mother had real bad arthritis in her hands. And to keep her hands limber, she used to crochet with fine wire. And she would make wire doilies. But she said her rheumatologist suggested, and I didn't know you could crochet with wire. I mean, the wire's probably about as thick as thread, but she makes wire doilies and things for on the stove for putting your pans on it out of wire. Matter of fact, she made me a a divot for my stove. It either got thrown out when I moved or somebody took it. Really? Dates back to the Vikings? Wow. Yeah, because her rheumatologist asked her, if she knitted. She went, "No, I crochet." And he said, to keep your hands limber, to keep the arthritis at bay, he said, get yourself crocheting wire. I didn't even know there was such a thing. And she would make like divots for put on your stove to put a pot on when it was hot. And she would make these things by the dozens. Because I remember going over the house one day, and she was sitting watching TV. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm crocheting." I said, "With wire?" She said, "Oh, yeah. Keeps my hands limber." I was like, "Oh, okay." But she could crochet with wire like a normal person would crochet with yarn. It was amazing to watch. Because she would make wire pot holders. Because she made a lot of shit. But it did keep her hands, keep her fingers, freed up. Because she was getting to the point where she was having a hard time moving her fingers. And man, the stuff that she would make. Matter of fact, she used to crochet doll dresses. She had a bunch of antique dolls. And she would crochet frickin' doll dresses out of wire. It was amazing to watch. My fingers got sore just watching. I guess I'm going to have to make a trip to Michael's one day and wander through the crocheting aisle and see what this, because, I never paid attention to the wire. Because I had an aunt that used to knit. And watching them knitting needles, man, she. Because she made me a sweater once. And she had it was like a hoop knitting needle. I guess that's how you start the collar. with a round hoop. It was a nice sweater until my dumbass threw it in the dryer. I washed it, put it in the dryer, and it came out about the size for a 2-year-old kid. I was like, oops. Guess I shouldn't have put it in the dryer. I think I gave it to my nephew. Here. This'll fit you now. Boy, did that thing shrink. Holy shit. Went from an extra large to a kid size 2. That's another reason I don't really want to use the Afghan too much. I'd have to have that thing dry cleaned. But I don't want to take a chance of ruining it. Although a lot of good it does sitting in the box in my closet. I'll dig it out. You would appreciate it, Kathy, because you're a crocheter. But I can't. I was amazed. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. From the time she told me she was going to make it to the time she called me and told me it's on the way UPS, I was like, wow, you're a real crocheting machine. Hold on. Text message. It says, I'm texting because I know you're on the air. I'll be there in about 20 minutes. Okay. She remembered after last night's phone call. Of course, I got hell from her yesterday. I'm waiting for the car buying story. And oh, Jesus. And while you're at it, I want to hear about the heathen lunch. Okay. I need to get a prop. I need a purse. The story would be more realistic with a purse. The way my grandmother would clutch that thing like. Guess I'll have to go to Goodwill. Buy it. Although it'd probably be hell trying to find the purse that I want to find. Because those purses probably existed back in the 40s. Yeah, sitting in that dealership with that purse clutched. I have to do the story. maybe we'll plan on next weekend. The car buying story on Saturday and the lunch story on Sunday. Although I keep saying that, and I keep forgetting. Although she did make a joke because her Ford Edge is an ST. It says right on the fender, ST edition. And she pointed it to it and went, not GT, ST. I said, oh, you remember that much? Yeah. It's a ST, not a GT. Boy, that would have confused the hell out of my grandmother. Yeah. Is it an ST or a GT? What is it? Make your mind up. ST, GT. Yeah, limited edition, ST. The ST edition. I told her, I said, just something to make it more expensive. Boy, she bought every warranty possible. She got the extended warranty. She got the tire road hazard warranty and replacement tire and rim warranty, glass warranty. I was like, boy, that salesman saw you coming. You want the glass replacement warranty? Yes. Oh boy, okay. How about the tire and rim replacement warranty? Yep, okay. How about the extended warranty? Yep, okay. She bought every warranty under the sun. Although she drives the turnpike every day, so yeah. I could see doing the glass and the tire and get some truck to throw a rock up and there goes your windshield. Although that sunroof is unbelievable. Christ, the whole roof of the car is a sunroof. God. Open the slider and you'd roast inside that thing. I couldn't believe it. She pushed that button and it kept going and going and going and going and going. I said, what, the whole roof of this car made of glass? Not for me. I don't care for sunroofs. Like I say, I don't even open the slider in the Passat. I don't like that sun coming in, hit me on top of the head. Too damn bright. Of course, I insulted her when I told her it looked like a police car. I said it's the same color as the suburbs. Gunmetal gray and black rims. I said, looks just like a police car. Although it's got heated seats and cooled seats. Heated steering wheel, heated mirrors. What else is heated on that thing? Heated mirrors, heated seats, heated steering wheel, cooled seats. Oh, heated and cooled steering wheel. Like in the summer, you need a cold steering wheel. But it's a nice looking. I'm glad I'm not making the payment on it. But then she got big buck tires on it. Pirelli Scorpions. 20, I think they're 20-inch. Man, those are huge tires on that thing. Pirelli Scorpion Verdes. Whatever the hell that means. With the monster tires that are on that thing, I can see why she bought the warranty. Jesus. Look like truck tires. I got my little 15-inchers on the Passat. Hers look like big honking semi-tires. Update. I'm at the traffic light at the corner. Okay. About 10 minutes. All right. I think we'll call it a night so I can meet her at the door with my big bin of leftovers and deviled eggs. Yum, 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 yum. Save me cooking tonight, though. You know, oh, shit. I know what I wanted to get. I wanted to get a loaf of rye bread. Damn it. I wanted to make me some good ham cheese sandwiches. Damn it. I knew I was forgetting something. Now what are you messaging me? Sent me the same message twice. You're at the traffic light. Good. Tell me when it turns green.
That's it. I'm through.
All right, people. I got to get my goodies. Holy shit. Dropped ashes all over my tablet. Oh. right, everybody. Thanks for being here on Easter evening. I hope everybody had a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. Not home of one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And with that, take care, everybody. We will be here again tomorrow night. And with that, see ya. Have a good evening. See ya. Bye.